What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Game week 21 on Sorare NBA tips off this Friday, so we're going to be diving in for a little bit of value hunting. Going to be doing it a little bit different this week than most episodes. Normally, we just dive in for L10s with 20 or below, but because there's a couple of plays like really popping this weekend, I figured we'd just look at the best value in general on this type of slate. And of course, if you're new to the channel, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We've got Live Before Lock coming at you on Friday right here on this channel, live at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. We're also giving away our Kevin Durant and Jalen Brunson rare tier cards because we hit that sweet 500 subscriber number. And when we get done with this video, do me a favor, drop in the comments your favorite value plays heading into game week 21. We've got a pretty typical slate on So Rare, no real special contest this week. So we'll be focusing on that champion, the contender, and then of course the underdog. But let's get started with our first play, and uncomfortably my favorite play for game week 21. And good Lord, we're going to Phoenix, and it's Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's cap is only 24 right now. Kevin Durant's missed the last couple of games, and noticeably last night in the loss against the Clippers, Beal played 41 minutes. So clearly Frank Vogel's feeling a little bit better about Beal's neck and his back and his ankle and his knee and whatever else he's been hurt with already this NBA season. But with a cap of 24 and the amount of minutes we're talking about from Bradley Beal, he is a smash play. Even if Kevin Durant comes back, he still should easily outpace his cap. With a cap of 24 right now, he's projecting for in that 40 to 44 range, which is just a huge W. And the Suns have 2 games this game week, and we love to see that. Now, when we head on over to Sorare, you're going to see the limited card here for his year 2 is $14. His rare is at $49. Let's actually look at the rare and see if there's a big dip between. No, not really, right? His year 1 is at 42 and his year 2 is at 49. Honestly, it's probably worth the little extra boost there. Of course, none of this is financial advice, but I will tell you that your boy scooped up some Bradley Beals this game week. So I'm ready to eat the pain of Frank Vogel and the Phoenix Suns. So Bradley Beal is probably my favorite play of this entire game week. But next up, we're going to move on over to the Bing Bong Boys. Oh, and that looks like it's Isaiah Hartenstein, but that's not who we're looking for, baby. We're looking for Josh Hart. And that's right. The Knicks recently sent out 2 of their bros of Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett. They got OG Anunoby back, so they're already down a guy in their rotation, and Josh Hart has just been eating because of it. His cap is only 16 right now, but he projects north of 30 fantasy points. He could do a lot worse than that, right? So Josh Hart, when looking at his cap of 16, you see his limited year 2 is at here at around $11, but you can get a year 1 for under $6, which that to me, honestly, feels a little bit better. If we go over to his rare tier, you see that's up to 35 right now. That is his year 1. So you can't even get a year 2. There's only a couple on the marketplace. I'm sure as we get closer to the game week getting underway, you'll see more people take some shots at it. And because of that, you'll also see more cards get added to the marketplace. But Josh Hart, again, with a cap of 16, projecting for north of 30 points. We absolutely love that. They also have 2 games this game week. So far, we've got the Suns with 2 games. We have the Knicks with 2 games as well. So fire up your Josh Harts, even though, again, he's not like a super high usage guy, but let's actually look at his recent performances here too, and what we can see, right, because they've had 2 games since the OG trade has happened. So if we pull this up, right, his last 2 games, he dropped to 24 against the Timberwolves. And the Bulls game last night was kind of a weird one and only had 11 there. But again, for a cap of 16, willing to take a little dart throw on Joshua Hart. There we go. That's number 2. Let's move on to our third play. Our third play this game week is Chris Duarte. So this was actually news to me. I knew that Kevin Huerter for the Sacramento Kings, who was starting, who was a part of their starting 5, was moved to the bench. I did not know it was Duarte that was the one that was making the leap to the starting lineup. And I played him actually this past game week where he popped off for my underdog lineups, and I think is going to help me secure a W depending on how these 2 games go tonight. But Duarte has a cap of 7 and projects for 20. And I do like the fact that he's in that starting lineup because it's clear his minutes are going to be there, and we love that. So you can see his limited year 2 card right here is just under 9 USD, and his rare year 1, you don't see a year 2 listed here, is for $20. Now, he's not a huge boom play. He did get up to 30 this game week, right? We can look at his recent performances here. He dropped, 29 against the Charlotte Hornets, and then hit you with the 1 last night against the Orlando Magic, which was probably going to scare the crap out of everybody, and I understand that. Duarte, I think, picked up 2 quick fouls in the first and then picked up his 3rd early in the second, so his minutes were kind of wonky. And then Malik Monk went absolutely bonkers last night in that double overtime game, and I think he soaked up a lot of those minutes. So Duarte, again, like, listen, you can see the ceiling of 29 and the floor of 1, but you also see some 13s in there too. So the projection of 20 is definitely a ceiling projection, I think, from him. I think that 16 to 18 range makes a little bit more sense. So I don't know if I'd be jamming him into my champion lineups to trying to get that big boost, because I don't know if that ceiling is really there. However, I do like him for whether it's your underdog or your contender. I feel like it's a stable coin, Chris Duarte. All right, next up, we're going to Detroit, and our boy Alec Burks, who had 2 very good performances. I played him in the rare tier this game week, and I believe he dropped 36 in his first game and then 39 last night in the overtime game against the Utah Jazz. Monty Williams clearly is trying to get some W's for Detroit because the vibes have been bad, and Burks has been one of the beneficiaries. We've seen Burks be out there for a ton of minutes. We've seen Bojan Bogdanovic be out there for a ton of minutes, and Cade and Jalen Duren are the other 2 guys that are really just soaking up all of the usage for Detroit. Those are really the only guys I feel comfortable with. The Asar Thompson stuff just doesn't seem to be working out. Jaden Ivey sometimes in the lineups, sometimes he's not. You saw Killian Hayes close in that overtime game last night against the Jazz. But Alec Burks is somebody I do really like with a cap of 14. I feel like, as we said, we had 36 and 39 in the 2 most recent game weeks. Excuse me, back over here. You can see his cap of 14. That's a little alarming here. $6.66, 666. What are we doing here, Zayden? But that's for his year 2 card. His rare year 2 is at 33. Let's look at the price dip between year 2 and year 3. You can get his year 1 for 26 in rare, and then his year 1 for 477 in limited. Again, these not a sexy play, right? I'm not like, woo, baby, Alec Burks, but they do have 2 games this game week. Again, I like the condensed usage that we're seeing from Detroit, so I'm okay firing that up. I'm going to throw one more play at you this game week, and this one's risky, so I'm not even saying you should play. If anything, I would just monitor the news a little bit. So last night, the Orlando Magic, as we said, played that double overtime game in a loss against the Sacramento Kings, and they got bit with some injuries. Markelle Fultz is missing more and more time with this knee injury that they're not really talking about, but doesn't seem like he's coming back. Cole Anthony missed the game as well, and then Franz Wagner and Gary Harris both exited the game against the Kings. Now, again, I don't know what this rotation is going to look like or how many people are going to continue to miss games, but the Magic do have 2 games this game week. It's not a back-to-back, so they'll play Friday and then play Sunday. So I'd be very interested in what the news is going to look like for Orlando come Friday. So definitely tune into Live Before Lock. We'll talk about it more then. But if Fultz, Harris, and Cole Anthony miss another game, again, this is pretty gross. There's persons not even projecting in Momentum Labs or the top tier projections. But I'm going to look at Trevin Queen. All right. Trevin Queen, who's on the Magic now. G League God. I believe he's G League MVP. Queen last night played 38 minutes for the Orlando Magic. Now, he didn't do too much. Like, it wasn't out there just going ham in that game. You can see he did drop 25, though. He dropped 25. Now, I don't know if those minutes are going to be there because, again, look at this. He played garbage time against the Sixers, and then it was a DNP, 3 consecutive games, and then all of a sudden played 38 minutes in the double overtime loss against the Kings. So, again, this is a real freaky deaky play. You see his cap is a bait. He's not projecting anywhere. But if all of those guards are going to miss time, that gets me a little excited. All right, just want to do a couple more things before we get out of here with this episode of Value Hunting. Just rattle off some of the teams here that have 2 games this game week, right? I already mentioned Bradley Beal. So we know the Suns are playing 2 games this game week. The Raptors, our boy Emmanuel Quickley, who's coming off a fire game week, now has 2 games this game week. His cap's only 23. He's an exciting one. We already talked about the Knicks. The Nets have 2. The Nuggets have 2. The Pacers have 2. The Sixers have 2. The Mavericks have 2. We've got the Kings and the Grizzlies both with 2. The Cavs have 2. The Warriors have 2 as well. We've already mentioned the Pistons. You have the Jazz as well. Don't forget the Lakers have 2 after only having 1 this previous game week. The Pellies have 2. The Timberwolves, I don't know if I've said the Pacers already, but they have 2 as well. The Kings, they're lighting the beam 2 times this game week. And the Houston Rockets. That feels like I mentioned every single NBA team. So really pay attention to that. One thing to note, the Miami Heat, 0 games this game week. So your Bams, your Nikola Jovic's, who I was excited to talk about because he inserted himself into the starting lineup with Jimmy Butler missing another game. And then was like pretty solid in 28 minutes last night. So that's somebody to keep an eye on, but the Heat aren't playing this game week. And just to highlight a few of the MVPs that you might be using where their caps have come down far enough that you might be able to squeeze 2 of them into a champion lineup. Jokic's cap is down to 50, which is still a monster number, but he's projecting over 62 fantasy points this game week. And I know he's had like a couple of slow slow game. So that cap might even sneak down a little bit. Tyrese Maxey's cap is down to 40 now, and he's got a pretty big projection with 2 games this game week. Halliburton always has monster projections. He's got a cap of 47, but Kyrie Irving, who missed a ton of time, he's played both games this game week, had a really solid performance against the Blazers. His cap is only 39. He projects north of 50. He's probably my favorite, like, second guy that you'd throw in a champion lineup. All right, that's going to do it for value hunting for So Rare NBA Game Week 21. Just a reminder, we're back here live at 5:30 p.m. Eastern with some friends from the community as we break down the slate as the injury news comes in, the projections change, and then as always, we give away a rare tier card. Appreciate everyone joining the show. Don't forget to like the stream, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and then do me a favor, drop in the comments who your favorite value play is for Game Week 21. We out.